Hey YouTube! So we've got this unbelievably good looking guitar. This is a Fame, a Hondo Fame bass. From, I think the serial number starts with a 5, I think 1985 sounds about right. So the story with Hondo was Hondo made cheap nasty guitars in the 70s in Korea. They decided they were going to try and up their game a bit, so what they did was they contracted Matsumoku to build some guitars, and they contracted, I believe it was either Fujigen or Tokai, to build some guitars. These ones are known as the professional Hondo series. The Matsumoku ones were sort of like a double cut Les Paul, and it was a bass, a guitar, and a slightly fancier guitar. And the other ones, the ones that either went to Fujigen or Tokai, were sort of Fendery. There was a Fender lead copy, a P bass, maybe a couple of other ones in both ranges. So what they did was, because they'd contracted the big Japanese factories to make these guitars, they or maybe, I think, can we see your factory, seeing as we're ordering some stuff off you? And I think they went round the factory with a notepad to learn how to make good guitars. So basically, once they'd done a couple of years of the Hondo professional ones, out came the Hondo's own guitars. There's a company called Samick, who you've probably heard of. They make the desirable Epiphones, and in the 90s, and loads of other makes of guitar, but Hondo was their sort of own brand. So what you're getting now is what we would now class as a mid-range bass. Okay, you don't get them now with the spiky headstock and the silly paint, but like a mid-range P bass, like a 500-600 pounder sort of thing. But they've totally nailed how to make proper guitars now. This isn't like the really early Hondos. Also, whenever you look up Hondos, you always see so many of them claim to be Japanese, and so few of them are. There's only those ones that say professional and headstock. Is kind of it. There's a few odd models, but I mean, Hondo have got like 300 guitar models at one point. So the vast majority of them are Korean. This being one of them. It's got it's got very high-end tuners on it, Grover tuners on a bass. I think that's 50 quid of the tuners there to start with. It's got the Vulture with the same go-top bridge as my Vulture does, so it's a big massive blocks. It's through strung as well. Yeah, so this one, it's got a mirror scratch plate. Unfortunately, you can see that's been broken, and my pal actually replaced it with a wee piece of mirror. So it's kind of, whether you would change that or not. I did have a look at mirror scratch plates on eBay, and you can bet them for like 10-15 quid from China. And I do have a plain white P-bass scratch plate, and it looks to be, if not exactly the same size, very nearly. You know, you might need to move the screw holes or something, but it's pretty much P-bass sized. I might do that. I don't know. My pal is thinking of selling this bass. I wonder if it's actually going to be worth an awful lot more. How much does it detract from it, the fact it's got this bit broken on it? Don't know. I mean, it's solid now. Yeah, so we've got a P-bass. This switch turns on, so the P-bass pickup is always on. This switch turns on the humbucker in series, giving you like a massive pickup, and then this is a coil split for the humbucker, so you can either have like a triple bucker or a quad bucker or just a P-bass pickup. It's not the way it was originally meant to be wired. I don't think the way this was actually wired, even though, well, once I'd connected the wires up, was as it put this on in parallel out of phase, which is a sort of thin sound, which I was talking about this the other day with the Aria bass there, which has a jazz bass pickup in it. And it's kind of, I think what they were trying to do around about the mid-80s was, because synthesizers were becoming such a big thing, and if you've ever played along with somebody in a band where someone's got a synthesizer, they can just cover your entire bass frequency range with one finger. So they're just going, and they've just got their finger on the E that you like to play, so it just completely just wipes out the bass. So I think what they were trying to do then was giving bass players a sort of more twanky, trebly sound to try and cut through. Think Duran Duran or something like that. Where it's all sort of high up because there's so much synth in it. So I think that's what it was meant to do, but that's not how I've wired it. I've wired it so you've basically got a P-bass, and then a P-bass with a bit more oomph, and then a P-bass again with a bit more oomph on top of that. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty happy just having a P-bass pickup, so that's what I would be using. So I'm just playing through my Marshall MB150, nothing else on. got a brass nut. I don't think that's an original brass nut. No, it looks absolutely brand new. So I think it's had a brass nut fitted to it. Yeah, it's quite a heavy bass, but it's a P bass, and I love P basses. And if I didn't have so many P basses, this would be a kept one, especially if you're in an 80s rock band or something like that. Turning up with this, it's like, wow. I wish these tigery things would come back in. In fact, I know, is it Steel Panther? Do have like a Strat range, one of the guitarists does. I don't know if they do basses. I don't know that you can get a bass in this paint job these days. So it's 30 years old, and it's like when you've got like a 30-year-old thing, you can't really fake that, so it just feels better than a modern bass. Just more worn in, I suppose, like a comfy pair of shoes. So tone up full, P bass pickup. Tone all the way off. Tone back up. Triple bucker. Adding this pickup in single coil or in humbucker mode doesn't make a huge difference to the sound, but it does make a big difference. It's kind of more of a sort of subtly thing in there. Yeah, that's kind of more of a sort of hollowy sound on its own. And when you add that in, it becomes more direct. It's a bit more of a punch. Alright, we're going to play some fuzz over the top hat. That was a bad thing to do. What I should be doing is, I did it before, I kind of put a couple of chords, these things. Put something a bit chordy in. Missed it. Oh, I've been well today, haven't I? yeah, I must not be in the mood for playing bass today. But that's, I really do. I do rate this thing. So my pal Wayne is actually going to sell this. He bought another bass at the same time, a West Tone Thunder bass. I think with this one not working, he's sent it to me to fix it up. So he's in lockdown down in Leicester. So I might be just selling this from here, or maybe I'll get him to stick it on eBay there, because if I'm posting it from here, it's just as easy to post from here as it is down there. But I mean, he's not wanting an awful lot for it. I don't. I mean, it's got to be worth £200 or something at least, doesn't it? The scratch plate's a bit of a downer. Apart from that, it's pretty much perfect. As I said, you can buy one for £15. I just don't know whether that's worthwhile me doing that. I might do that. I'll talk to Wayne about it and see what it says. But then again, it's like, this is the original scratch plate, so you're better off having the original scratch plate with a wee bit that you can't even really see. Really, it's not really that noticeable, this wee extra chunk. Or just put another one in. Don't know. I mean, you've got to love that headstock, don't you? Especially since it's so camouflaged you can't even see where the writing is. So notice it says Fame, and with a Fender F on it. There was a Fame Mastercaster Stratocaster they did, which is meant to be absolutely fantastic. This is when they were trying to make their high end stuff, the Hondo stuff. So you get like Fame and Formula One being the top of the range pro level instruments. That's why it's got the Gotoh hardware and stuff like that on it. Yeah, so I mean, I just think it's an amazing looking bass. I mean, it's the sort of thing I would paint a bass to look exactly like. I might even paint a bass to look exactly like this. In fact, I've got like a Star P bass. Do I maybe paint it exactly like this? Don't know, just because I like it. I don't know if the rest of the world does. I'm trying to do some swaps just now, and I keep getting offered guitars that I don't like, which is kind of difficult when I'm doing the swap, the tradey up thing, because there's lots of guitars I don't really like. I mean, I've had a couple offers. One with there's a Squire Strat with a Floyd Rose. I just don't think it's worth as much. I don't know how easy that is to sell. Not really my sort of thing. Yeah, so better video tomorrow. I've been messing about today. I've rebuilt my Ibanez Blazer, that one, after I've lacquered it, and I've got a swirl caster that I'm working on as well, plus I've got another couple of ones to wire, so not the longest of videos, but maybe a good thing. Rock on!